Finally, part 2 is the 16th episode of the 8th season of Cheers. This is directed by the wonderful James Burrows, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. It's in some ways a very funny episode, it's a very suspenseful episode, in some ways it's a little frustrating, and also Frasier says something that I really, really hate. He's entitled to say it, but I dislike it, but we'll get there in a moment. I will, of course, go from the beginning and go through everything chronologically, but also it's worth mentioning that this episode was followed by the 8th anniversary special of Letterman. And I learned from IMDb that there was actually a Cheers cold open for that anniversary special. And I had a look, and it is on YouTube. You can find the anniversary special, and the Cheers, the cold open is about 10-15 seconds, maybe a little bit longer, but it's good fun. I won't say what happens in it, but if you want to see it, definitely give that a look if you haven't seen it before. It's brief and good fun, and I rather enjoyed it. The episode itself, finally part 2, yeah, I have a lot of happy thoughts. I have a lot of frustrating thoughts. Starts off with Bill Medley of the Righteous Brothers coming into the bar, and everybody gathers around him, and they're asking questions, and they're buying him a beer. They're all pitching in 6 cents. And Woody asks him when he changed his name to Righteous, which is a decent way to open things. This is because Colcord had paid the Righteous Brothers to perform for Rebecca. And then Sam comes in looking for Rebecca. And there's a note that she left saying that she'll be back in the bar later, as right now she's on top of the world. But actually the note says world. And we have a couple of minutes of the guys trying to decipher the handwriting, which was amusing, but felt like a personal attack because my handwriting is so bad, sometimes I can't even read what I've written. So I enjoyed it nevertheless. And then Sam does something that I don't agree with. Sam's behaviour in this episode, it's very clear that his heart is 100% in the right place. Well, for the most part. But he doesn't, in my opinion, he doesn't take the right approach pretty much throughout the entire thing. And he ends up telling the others what happened at Little Wally's. And this basically gives us a recap of what happened at the end of the previous episode, where Rebecca went back in to clean her blouse, and as she does that, Sam sees Colcord getting out of his limousine with another woman. And this is what he tells the guys at Cheers. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree that he should have told them that Rebecca's boyfriend was cheating on her before he'd had a chance to speak with her. Granted, it's very clear that this was causing Sam a lot of distress. He didn't really know what to do, and a problem shared is a problem halved. So I can understand his motivation for doing this, but I still don't think it was the best idea. And then we get a flashback, I guess, to what Sam had actually done immediately after. And we see Rebecca in the bathroom at Little Wally's, and Sam comes in yelling fire, a tactic with which Rebecca is quite familiar, thinking of the Squeaky Shoes episode. And of course, everybody else in the bathroom runs out, and Sam tries to get Rebecca to go out the window, and then he ends up putting his jacket over Rebecca's head and herding her out of the restaurant that way. And we have a great exchange with Woody and Norm here, where Woody says, "She must have looked like a darn fool with your coat wrapped around her face, running through the restaurant screaming." To which Norm responds, "No, not at Little Wally's," which I liked. And Sam did wonder if he did the right thing, as she should know the truth before getting in too deep, and maybe he should have just let her see Colcord instead of protecting her from it. And honestly, I feel like that would have been the better scenario. Yes, it would have been more painful, but also it was pretty dramatic and scary what happened to her anyway with faking the fire. So either way, it wasn't exactly the best end to the evening. But, well, we have a quote from Frasier, which I hate. I don't blame him, though. Frasier is saying, you know, maybe Rebecca should know about this, but he's wondering if she will be as strong as he was when he was having his heart broken when, and I quote, "that bitch Diane dumped me." Frasier, how dare you? Again, I understand why he feels that way, but let's not call Diane names, because I love Diane and I don't want to hear it. But it did make me laugh. The others comforted him. It was a funny moment, but as a Diane fan, I don't want it. And then Rebecca comes in and she is on top of the world, and she thanks Sam for saving her life. She has no idea what actually happened. And Sam's about to tell her, at least it seems like Sam is about to tell her the truth, when Robin comes in with a rose for her, and I will acknowledge the fact that I go back and forth with calling him Colcord and Robin. I have no idea why I do this. I apologise if it's irritating. And he comes in with a rose for her, and they're supposed to be meeting tonight, but oh no, he has an emergency board meeting. Yeah, right. And Rebecca then has to rush off to the office because she put the rose in her mouth and got a thorn in her lip. And Robin thanks Sam for his discretion last night. And he says, and I quote, "I hope you'll keep up your continued silence if the event should ever repeat itself." What a disgusting slime bag. He's basically exactly the same as Nick Tortelli, but exactly the opposite. He's Nick Tortelli if Nick Tortelli had a lot of money. And I genuinely don't know which character I like the least. Robin then says, when Sam says, no, I'm not going to keep this a secret, I'm not going to protect you like this, Robin says to him, one phone call from me and you can have your bar back. And Sam says okay, with only the slightest hesitation. And I feel like there had to be a way for Sam to play this, for him to get the bar back, but also for him to tell Rebecca the truth. And I feel like in an ideal world, Sam would tell Rebecca. He'd also tell Rebecca that Colcord said he could get the bar back. Rebecca would realise Colcord is a sleazebag, and then she'd tell Sam to go along with it, get the bar back, and then she'd break up with Robin Colcord, pretending she had no idea that he'd ever been seeing somebody else. That would be the ideal scenario where ultimately everybody would win. Sam would get the bar back, Rebecca would eventually get over the heartbreak and she wouldn't be cheated on anymore. And, well, Colcord wouldn't win anything, but we don't care about that. And when Rebecca comes back from the office, dabbing her lip with a towel to stop the bleeding, Sam says to her, I think I just made a deal to buy back the bar. And Rebecca's really happy. Sam should be happy. But as he writes on a napkin, I feel bad. At least we're getting the clarification that yes, Sam has just made a terrible decision, depending on how he plays it. At least he's acknowledging to himself that this wasn't the right decision. We then cut to Rebecca singing You've Lost That Loving Feeling and greeting people coming into Cheers. And it's so lovely to see her so happy because she's basically spent the entirety of her Cheers career miserable, desperate, needy, clingy. And here she is just on top of the world, as the note said. And it's also horrible to know that Colcord is not treating her very well behind closed doors when she can't see what's going on. He's just being a slime bag. And then out comes a woman with a harp, and clearly everybody is going insane with all of this lovey-dovey attitude that Rebecca has. She even replaced the nuts bowl or the pretzels bowl with little candy hearts, and it was sweet, but it would get really, really irritating. And everybody's encouraging Sam to do the right thing. Not just because they care about Rebecca, but because they cannot take any more of this. And then Sam said, what she doesn't know won't hurt her. And yes, in the moment, that is true. But imagine being with somebody for years and years and then finding out that potentially they've cheated on you that entire time. So what she doesn't know doesn't hurt her right now. And yes, it's nice for her to be happy in the moment, but long term, that's not the best idea. And then we have this really wonderful exchange between Woody and Sam as Woody responds to what Sam has said. And Woody says, I always model myself after you. Not the way you're always hung up on your looks. That's kind of shallow, really. And not the chasing after women part, because that's kind of silly. The other part. And Sam's response to this, I think, is really, really telling. As Sam replies, there is no other part. And Woody explains, there's a part of you that's always looking out for your friends, and that's the thing about you that made you my hero. Isn't that the most beautiful thing ever? First of all, for Woody to say that is so sweet, that is so lovely. I think that is absolutely wonderful. But the other thing I love about this is that Sam, well, I love that they're acknowledging this, but I don't love it for Sam. Sam clearly doesn't see his own worth. He doesn't see the value he brings to other people, the fact that he is, for the most part, a brilliant friend, always looking out for them. We've seen him doing this with Rebecca multiple times, also chasing after her multiple times, but for the most part, he cares about her. And Sam doesn't seem to acknowledge his good qualities, and as he admits, he just seems to be quite shallow, and he believes that that's all he is. So I love that we're acknowledging that there is more to Sam than this. And I love that it's acknowledging that he's not just full of his own importance, a la Robin Colcord, but that he actually is a wonderful person. But I wish that Sam himself would realise that there's more depth to him than his looks and his need to chase after women. And it was just a really, really interesting exchange there. Rebecca then comes into the bar. She says she's found somebody to sublet her apartment. Clearly she's planning on moving in with Colcord. He hasn't asked her yet, so in Rebecca fashion, she is jumping ahead a little bit too much. And Sam realises enough is enough. He sits her down and he says to her, "Robin's seeing other women behind your back." And Rebecca responded in a way that I feel like everybody would expect. She doesn't believe him. She thinks Sam is jealous. And she said... She says to him, "You need..." One moment. Okay. She says to him, "You need help, real help, not Frasier." And just Frasier's face as he turns around. He's at the bar across the room and he just turns around and his facial expression is... There was no need to throw Frasier under the bus like that. It was absolutely fantastic. Let's acknowledge that Frasier is a proper psychiatrist, but nevertheless, it is very, very funny. And Sam also mentioned about buying the bar back, and she won't believe it. Maybe part of me thinks she doesn't want to believe it. Maybe deep down she knows it's probably happening, but in the moment she is not listening. She is not having it, and she leaves the bar to go to the board meeting to prove Sam wrong, to prove that Colcord is there, not that he's with another woman. And Sam felt good. I think he was trying to convince himself that he did the right thing, but in my opinion, he did do the right thing. And then Carla screws up his face because he was this close to getting the bar back. And yeah, as I said, I feel like it could have worked out, but with the way Rebecca responded, I don't think there was going to be a way for Sam to play this to his advantage. But had she admitted immediately that, yeah, this was probably what was happening, then they could have played it to everybody's advantage and got her own back on Colcord. But obviously with Rebecca responding the way she did, I don't think that ever would have worked. We then cut to Rebecca in Robin's limo, and he enters with another woman. And this is a woman called Christine, played by Valerie Karasek. And, well, she calls herself Christine. She's credited on IMDb as Christine, but I'm so certain Colcord called her Christina, but we'll call her Christine. And Colcord explained that he is a one-woman guy. He's just narrowed it down to 3 women, and Christine doesn't want to be one of 3, so she leaves. And of course, the right thing to do there would be for Rebecca to leave as well. Let's make Colcord's life easy. Let's remove 2 of the 3, and he can pick the remaining woman. I'm sure she'll feel great for being the last one standing. But obviously, in true Rebecca style, she doesn't do that. And she says now it's down to 2, and she makes him choose. But then he puts his arm around her, and, well, they start kissing, and clearly Rebecca's no longer angry in the moment. And Rebecca comes into the bar to apologise to Sam, because obviously what Sam had said was true. And Sam said that she sold out, and she just said no, she's just entered a fair contest. But very quickly, she begins crying. She realises the reality of the situation. Really great performance from Kirstie Alley, of course. And then Robin comes in and he said something that I rather loved. He said, "It's fascinating. Everybody else in the world at the end of the evening goes to their homes. You people come to this bar," which I love. I don't love the use of "you people," as in this context, it kind of sounds like Robin is putting them down. And that's not exactly far-fetched. I think it's exactly something he would do. But I do love the sentiment that everybody comes to Cheers because, well, it's a place where everybody loves your name and they're always glad you came. And she then calls him Mr. Colcord. Rebecca calls Robin Mr. Colcord. And then he gives her a diamond bracelet. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me, and this is just my own opinion, there's no reason to believe this, it wouldn't surprise me if that bracelet was meant for Christine. If he was going to be giving that bracelet to her because he had it on him. How many jewellery stores are open at that time of night? Well, maybe some. But I believe that he probably was going to give that to Christine. But he gave it to Rebecca. And, well, he also told her she's in the lead. And she celebrates winning. And she takes the bracelet. and leaves. And that's how we end things. And honestly, it's not satisfying. The ending is not satisfying. For a two-parter to set up that suspense, to carry us across the 40-something minutes, desperately hoping Rebecca will realise the truth and leave him, only for her at the last minute, just as she's about to come to her senses, to run back to him because he dangled a diamond bracelet in front of her face and told her that she was in the lead. I don't like it. I don't think we're meant to like it, but for it to be a two-parter and to really, really make us emotionally invested in wanting the best for Rebecca, wanting her to make the right decision, and then at the very last second she doesn't. It's just not a satisfying ending, and I don't like it at all. Again, we're not meant to like it, but it's not satisfying. So as a whole, the episode is brilliant, but that ending is so frustrating. Personal highlights from this episode. We have a lot of great dialogue. I think my favourite moment would be the exchange between Woody and Sam, where Woody says that Sam is his hero, and Sam very clearly is not full of his own importance. He thinks that he is shallow and that he doesn't have a lot of depth to him. And it was just really, really eye-opening, I think, and really, really well done. Great performance throughout from Kirstie Alley, of course, and just in general, as a whole, finally part 2 is a brilliant episode of Cheers, but with a very, very, very frustrating ending.